everyone! Today we'll be doing a Vin-Yin class. So like the name suggests, we'll be doing one half vinyasa, like our normal flows, just to get the body nice and warm. And the second half will be a yin style. So then we'll start to really slow down and really stretch into those deep connective tissues. We're going to need one bolster for the yin section, and let's begin.
We'll begin in Tadasana today, with the feet hip-width apart. On the inhale, we're coming through our sun salutation, so bring the arms up and exhale, forward fold, bend the knees, head relaxes. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back, fingertips to the shins, reach that chest forward and up, and exhale, forward fold, belly and thighs connect. 2 more like this. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back, just opening into the hamstrings and through that lower back and the chest and shoulders. Exhale down to a forward fold. Last one, inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, forward fold. On the next inhale, we're going to step the feet back to a plank position, and option to drop the knees down or stay in full plank, coming through our half push-up chaturanga. Inhale to baby cobra or cobra if you're ready, opening that chest, draw the shoulders back and down, and exhale, tuck the toes under, sit bones up towards the sky to downward facing dog. Bend the knees here and keep the belly and the thighs connected, really pushing the sit bones and the hips up towards the sky, lengthening through the spine, and maybe just starting to walk the dog out. Just pressing one heel down and the other, lengthening the shoulders and the back body, opening through the hamstrings and the calves. Next, inhale, bend the knees, gaze up between the hands, and exhale, step the feet forward. Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, reach that chest forward 90 degrees, and exhale, forward fold. Next, inhale, reverse swan dive. Open the arms up, chest open, reach the fingertips up towards the sky, and exhale. Straight back down through our swan dive to our forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana, reach that chest forward, spine long. Exhale, forward fold. Stepping straight back to plank this time, palms grounding down into the mat, and again option to lower down to the knees. Half push-up chaturanga. Inhale, baby cobra or cobra. Keep drawing the shoulders back, don't let them come up towards the ears. And exhale, downward facing dog. Again, maybe walking your dog out, maybe keeping the knees bent so we can still keep that nice length in the lower back. Maybe walking your dog out again, deepening the waist nice and long. Bend the knees on the next inhale, gaze up between your hands, exhale, walk, step, or maybe even lightly hopping back towards the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back, fingertips to shins or the mat, and exhale, lower down. Last one, inhale, reaching the chest back up towards the sky, arms up, and exhale, straight back to forward fold for our last round of Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, flat back, reach that chest forward, exhale, forward fold. This time, inhale, step back to plank again. Remember, you can drop down to the knees or stay in full plank. Inhale, and exhale, lower down to chaturanga. Inhale, baby cobra or cobra, exhale, downward facing dog. Remember, if this is too fast for you, this flow, you can always slow down. Otherwise, next inhale, bend the knees, gaze up between the hands, walk, step, or lightly hop back towards the top of the mat. Forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Reach the arms up towards the sky, spine long, keep the ribs tucked in, and hands down through heart center, Samasthiti. Just take a few deep breaths here. Catch your breath. Having a bit of a rest. And then we're coming through our Surya Namaskar B. So grounding the feet into the earth. Then next inhale, sweep the arms up towards the sky, sitting down in our Utkatasana chair pose. then exhale, forward fold. It's the same from here. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back, and exhale, lower down, forward fold. Again, inhale, step the feet back to plank. Drop the knees if you need. Exhale, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, baby cobra, or maybe even upward facing dog if you're ready. And exhale, downward facing dog. On the next inhale, we're going to step the right foot forward between the hands. Maybe keeping a bend, maybe raising the right leg up first before stepping it through. And remember, it doesn't matter if you can't get that foot through on the first go. You can always use your hand or just take a few steps to get there. We're coming into Warrior 1, so ground down through the back heel. Keep the hips square to the front of the mat. And if you feel any pain in your knee, you can just lift that back heel off and bend that knee. Keep the waist long and maybe stay here or interlace the fingers behind the back, drawing the shoulder blades together, puffing that chest. And instead of drawing the chin down towards the chest, imagine that you're lifting that chest up towards the chin, puffing it up. And at the same time, exhale, bending through that front knee a little deeper. Frame the front foot with the hands and step it back to plank. Then downward facing dog on the exhale. Again, maybe walking your dog out. Then preparing for the other side. So this time, left leg lifts and exhale, step it through. Ground the back heel down, Warrior 1, and lift the arms up, reach up towards the sky. Notice if your ribs are sticking out, can we draw them back in, hug them in? And exhale, sinking a little deeper into that front knee. Interlace the fingers behind the back, again, puffing that chest up towards the chin. Maybe even starting to gaze up with the head, lengthening through the neck and the throat, opening the chest and the shoulders, and exhale, frame that front foot with the hands, step it back to plank, maybe going through a half vinyasa, drop the knees if you need, or maybe going straight back to downward facing dog if you want to skip this half vinyasa. Reach that chest up on the baby cobra or cobra, and exhale, downward facing dog. Again, just wriggling the feet out, shaking the hips out. Take a few deep breaths. And on the next inhale, bend the knees, gaze up between the hands, step it forward or lightly hop, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift again, fingertips to shins or the mat, and exhale, forward fold. Next inhale, sweep the arms back up, come back to your chair pose, and reach the arms up, standing up, hands back down through heart center. Again, just taking a few moments to catch your breath again. Maybe hands come back beside the body, back to our mountain pose, that grounding pose. We're going to come through one more half vinyasa now to make our way down to the mat. So in your own time, reach the arms up on the inhale and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, step the feet back to plank, and exhale, maybe this time staying in your full plank if you kept the knees down. Just an option. Back to baby cobra, cobra or upward facing dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. Shake the hips side to side, bend the knees nice and deep, draw the heart space back towards the thighs, and slowly lower down into the knees. Coming into the first yin pose first, so just coming to child's pose for a moment, your normal balasana, just rocking the head and the hips side to side to shake out any tension, and you can stay in this version of child's pose. Otherwise, we're going to use the bolster to make it more of a supported child's pose, and just bring the knees nice and wide, the bolster just between the knees, and rest the belly and the chest down on the mat. Arms on either side of the bolster, one ear down on the bolster, and let the whole body just sit here, sinking into the mat and the bolster. Maybe feeling your heart rate against the bolster, especially if you're still resting from that vinyasa. Let the elbows and the shoulders be really relaxed here. And let the hips start to sink down towards the heels. So instead of kind of using force and trying to really sit the sit bones down towards the heels, we're really just letting the hips do the work here, the weight of the hips. So keeping all the muscles in the hips and the thighs and the calves all relaxed. Turning the head to the other side, making sure we're stretching out through the other side of the neck and the throat as well. And again, apart from the head, nothing else has moved. So the hips are still relaxed and heavy. Still allowing the weight of the hips to sink down towards the heels, to open into the shins and the fronts of the feet, the ankles, and of course the hips and the lower back, and the shoulders. Really focusing on the breath. Still noticing what your breath is doing. The length of the breath. Slowly start to push yourself back up. And with all yin poses, make sure you really take your time to come back up. There's never any rush. Slowly start to come back in through a tabletop and shake the hips side to side. Maybe rolling the feet and the ankles out. We're going to come into our pigeon pose next. So the left knee towards the left wrist. And just stepping that right foot back to give yourself some room. Remember, you can bring that bolster underneath the left sitting bone to prop yourself up. Just for that extra support underneath the hips if you need. That takes some of the pressure off the hips. Or you could even bring a rolled up blanket or this bolster underneath the right hip flexor if that's where it's feeling quite tight and intense. If this is okay, then just bring the bolster out in front like in the child's pose and rest the belly and the chest down on the bolster. Left ear on the bolster, nice and heavy. And the arms just on either side. And similar to that child's pose, just make sure all the muscles around the hips are completely relaxed. The thighs, the calves are relaxed. And remember, with the yin poses, we don't ever want to find our edge. So maybe finding the spot where you can feel a little bit of resistance, bit of tension, reaching that edge, but then take one step back from that. Because we're staying in these poses for a little bit of time, we don't ever want to overstretch them or cause any more tension than we started with. So finding a spot where you can be comfortable and really let your body stay here without moving, without feeling the urge to move or fidget. Just a couple more breaths here. Allow yourself to really surrender to the pose. Let go. Maybe starting to visualize yourself coming back up, before really starting to use the hands to walk back up, maybe rolling the bolster out to one side, tuck the back toes under. Just really take your time and use the hands to press the mat away, and then coming straight to the other side. So this time, right knee behind the right wrist, and again you've got those few options with your bolster, either underneath the right sit bone, or maybe in front of the left hip flexor, or maybe just underneath the belly, underneath the chest. You can also use a rolled up blanket underneath that right sit bone to feel a bit more supported, or a block, or again if you don't have any blocks at home, maybe using a book, a towel, just improvising with whatever props you have at home. And again, finding that spot, that position where you can really start to relax and settle. There's no tension, just a place where you can surrender and let go. Make sure it's the right ear to the bolster, stretching out through the other side of the neck and the throat. Still feeling the belly rising and falling, expanding and deflating. And almost imagining that with every exhale you can feel the hips sinking a little closer towards the mat, opening a little further, softening into the connective tissues. Again, just a few more deep breaths. Start to visualize yourself coming back out of the pose. And then slowly, when you're ready, start to walk the fingers back, push the mat away with the hands, tuck the back toes under, step that right knee back, maybe shaking the hips out if you need. Otherwise, keeping that bolster nice and straight, just vertical. We're just going to bring our left waist and lie down on the bolster. Okay, so that left hip is pretty much touching it, but the whole side of that left waist is just lying down on it. And again, bringing the arms on either side so that left arm is behind the bolster and the left ear down. Shoulders relaxed and the knees together. Bit of a passive stretch here. So a supported stretch, feeling a stretch in through the right side waist, maybe right side of the lower back, maybe even feeling it on the outside edge of the right hip and the thighs. And the belly is soft. Still expanding with the breath, with the in-breaths, and softening with the out-breaths. Slowly push yourself back up to seated and just swapping sides. So this time it's that right hip against the bolster, right waist. So you might be able to see it a little bit more clearly on this side. And again, knees together or just slightly apart is okay too. And this time it's the right ear down Just resting here. Shoulders relaxed. Feeling the left side of the waist, lower back, outer hip, outer thigh. Relaxing here, lengthening. Again, belly is soft. No tension whatsoever in the shoulders, or the arms, or the neck. Slowly start to come back up. Use the hands to push the mat away. And we're coming into our final rest. So we're just going to come into our reclined butterfly, Subdue Konasana. So if you have the bolster right up against your tailbone and it doesn't feel good for your lower back, then bring the end of that bolster a little higher up towards the middle of your back. Otherwise, having it right up towards the sit bones, towards the tailbone, can really support the whole spine here. But just see how that feels for your lumbar spine or that lower back. Knees wide, palms open. And you can stay here for as long as you like. Namaste.